Hello everyone. This video is the last in a series dedicated to the beasts of the Book of Revelation, the wars they will cause, the mark they will impose, and the prostitute who dominates them. In all these videos, the characters and events of the Book of Revelation have been compared to the political, economic, and technological context of our current society. This analysis allows us to conclude with a politically credible and short-term scenario. Thank you. Conflicts caused by a strategy of chaos whose ultimate goal is to impose the mark of the beast on the world. If we are truly close to the end times and the return of Jesus, this exercise can provide arguments to bring back to Jesus those who are distant from him. In conclusion of this series, and without reiterating, of course, all the arguments that have been presented, I allow myself, with extreme humility and caution, to present a scenario of the wars of the apocalypse that seems possible. This scenario is much less detailed than the videos on the apocalypse calendar. It is primarily a synthesis on the actors who could be involved in the events, certainly painful, of the apocalypse, but which must give birth to an era of 1,000 years of peace, prosperity, and the reign of Christianity. This after the manifest intervention of Jesus Christ in the course of these events. A possible scenario would be the following. Israel is attacked by a coalition of 10 Muslim countries that fail to bring it down because it is protected by the United States. Islamist organizations, Hamas, the entire Muslim Brotherhood, ISIS, etc., then attack Christian Europe by declaring a global jihad under the pretext that European countries support Israel. The war against Europe is then initiated by Islamists, notably with the help of Turkey. The Turkish president would, quote-unquote, release those among the 3.5 million Syrian refugees in Turkey who would be willing to transform into soldiers to attack Christian Europe. The dormant Islamist cells in Europe would also awaken, relying on drug traffickers, heavily armed, from the cities, etc. In short, an Islamist attack on Europe would be launched. Imagine, this is not to cast blame on the millions and millions of peaceful Muslims living in Europe, but wars are always the result of a minority of fighters. There might be an alternative scenario, but equally destructive, in the United States, with other communities involved. The defeat of the European armies would be organized in one way or another, just as France's defeat against Germany in 1940 was by its elites. The objective of this planned defeat would be to end the chaos through the intervention of NATO forces and to establish a military dictatorship. But the scenario might not unfold as planned. If Russia decides to attack us upon seeing Europe destabilized to prevent American enemy control in Europe, this hypothesis aligns with the speeches of Alexander Dugin, a shadowy figure of Russian power with undeniable influence. The attack on Christian Europe would correspond to the fifth seal of the apocalypse and would be followed by a great warning from Jesus Christ, thank you, and the protection of his servants. Shortly after, the sounding of the 7 trumpets of the apocalypse would occur, undoubtedly marking the beginning of a great war. Thus, a third world war breaks out and subsequently leads to a temporary peace. The Antichrist leads one of the countries participating in the peace process, a Muslim country. With the power of the dragon, he conquers 3 other Muslim countries, once again triggers a destructive war, and invades Israel. All these wars serve as a pretext for establishing a political dictatorship. This dictatorship deploys artificial intelligence responsible for operating a mind control technology that has been established, if not worldwide, at least in many countries. The mark of the beast will have been gradually established under the guise of a deadly pandemic, whether real or somewhat simulated. This pandemic will be followed by a mandatory injection, with doses capable of connecting the human brain to a machine via nanorouters or nanoantennas. I remind you that the word injection here refers, to avoid any potential censorship, to that well-known medical treatment aimed at stimulating the immune system against a virus. The mark of the beast will be necessary to buy or sell, which obviously brings to mind the central bank digital currency and digital wallet project. To put it simply and to summarize, these digital currencies are programmable and conditional currencies. The use of our money in our bank account will be conditioned on adhering to certain standards and behaviors. The digital wallet will centralize all our identity data, banking data, and health data, that is, our injection data. Digital currencies are expected to arrive by the end of the 2020s, so in the near future. Of course, we are not told that it is to establish totalitarian control over the populations, but everything the authorities say about it gives good reasons to be pessimistic. The mark of the beast will be used to kill those who do not bow down before it, says the book of Revelation. But the mark of the beast will not be used to kill those who do not bow down before it, says the book of Revelation. Not just to neutralize political opponents to the current regime, it will be accompanied by the abolition of the Christian religion in Western countries, and it will be accompanied by a new cult dedicated to the Antichrist. It will drive those who bear it to commit sins worthy of damnation according to the biblical book. Then Jesus will intervene and punish those who have accepted the mark of the beast. Beforehand, the rapture of the church and the Christians, authentic, will have taken place, and before that, on earth, they will have received the imprint of God on their foreheads to be protected as promised by the apocalypse to the servants of God. And even before that, the prophecy of the Son of Man, that is of Jesus, in the Old Testament made to the prophet Daniel, will be fulfilled. This prophecy says that before the great persecution by the Antichrist, intelligent people will instruct many, that the warnings of those who have love, truth, and justice serve to prepare for the wilderness, the way of the Lord, to make straight in the desert a highway for our God, to paraphrase the prophet Isaiah. And may he pray that the Holy Virgin turns her merciful gaze towards us in these times of trial. That is all we can wish for. Thank you for listening to me. Feel free to share this information. And why not join us in the non-virtual world? Have a good day, and may God bless you.